Hi, my name is Carrie Fannin, and I am a student in the field of communication studies.
Hi, I'm Jackie Fannin, and I'm also a student in communication studies.
In combining our studies together, we aim to evaluate, critique, and then extend media richness theory. Media richness theory was first introduced by Richard Daft and Robert Lingle in 1986. Their theory is a framework used to describe the ability of different communication mediums to reproduce the information that is sent out without distorting the message's meaning. Their theory evaluates the richness of specific communication media, including video conferencing, phone calls, emails, and unaddressed documents, by ranking each communication medium in a hierarchical order. The mediums are ranked based on the complexity of the message it can handle. MRT claims that media is capable of transmitting needed information, but is dependent upon the context of the messages. More specifically, the theory claims that media's ability to transmit messages depends on whether the information is or will be used in times of uncertainty or equivocality. According to the theorist, Daft and Lingle, managers can improve overall performance by matching communication mediums with the needs of information processing tasks. They categorize tasks based on the two terms uncertainty and equivocality.
Daft and Lingle also used four main factors in their theory to judge the richness of a communication medium. The factors include personal focus of the medium, ability to transmit multiple cues, immediacy of feedback, and language variety. MRT evaluates how different mediums have different levels of richness in the information they provide based on these four characteristics. To briefly explain each one, we will start with personal focus of the medium. There are varying levels of personal focus in every form of media. MRT suggests that messages are conveyed more fully when personal feelings and emotions are involved. The factor of personal focus is the main reason why Daft and Lingle ranked face-to-face communication as the richest medium, because a rich mix of verbal and nonverbal messages are easily conveyed. The next factor we will define is language variety. This refers to the range of meaning a certain message conveys. For example, the range of meaning may include the use of language symbols, such as numbers, which are precise, or the use of natural language, which can convey ambiguous ideas or messages. A research study of MRT conducted by Alan Dennis and Susan Kinney examines the remaining two factors that influence media richness. They claim in their study that immediacy of feedback and multiplicity of cues are the two most important factors that affect media richness, because the two other factors previously described are experimentally controlled.
The focus of their study is on the central propositions of media richness theory. That greater immediacy of feedback and multiplicity of cues increases media richness, and the use of richer media will lead to better task performance for equivocality tasks. Theorists Daft and Lingle define immediacy of feedback as the extent to which a medium enables users to give rapid feedback on the communications they receive. In Dennis and Kinney's research findings, they state that in order for communication to be successful, both the sender and the receiver must mutually agree that the receiver has understood the message. They showed how immediacy of feedback from the receiver to the sender plays an important role, confirming that the message was successfully understood. Multiplicity of cues is the final factor we will identify. This is referred to by Daft and Lingle as the number of ways information can be communicated, including spoken and written words, verbal cues, and nonverbal cues. Many empirical studies have found that decision time, meaning the time it takes for a receiver to interpret a message, increases as multiplicity of cues decreases.
Next, we will describe a contemporary context that calls the theory into question, and we will then describe how the theory is inadequate within the context by describing the ways in which our world has changed since the theory's development. MRT came out in 1986, so our contemporary society has obviously changed drastically in the last 30 years since the theory has been developed. One of the major differences of the late 1980s and the contemporary society of today is the present diversity in our country. Over the past several decades, our country has obviously continued to increase in diversity, both culturally and individualistically. Therefore, MRT currently holds cultural and social limitations that calls the theory into question. America has been viewed by many for quite some time now as an individualistic society as opposed to a collectivist society. Therefore, a major limitation of MRT is its lack of evaluation concerning cultural and individual characteristics.
Another major difference from the time the theory was created in our society today is that MRT was developed at the beginning of the digital age and did not examine the effects of the mass media of our contemporary society. Therefore, MRT is not able to explain the adaptation process individuals are forced to face when seeking to communicate to managers, coworkers, or future employees on a wide range of social medias, such as a Facebook business page, virtual team meetings, or teleworking. This now leads us into more critiques of the theory. MRT does not consider individuals' personal characteristics in regards to the mediums they choose to communicate through, most importantly, the mediums within the mass media that have come about in the past decade or two. MRT claims that greater multiplicity of cues and greater immediacy of feedback increases media richness, but recent mediums of our mass media today contradict such findings. Take, for instance, the social media interface of the Facebook business page that is found to be considered richer than email in regards to its capacity to share photos and to transmit information through web links, but it hasn't found to lead to greater use of the tool. Individual differences are not considered in MRT, and the theory is lacking support to explain rich communication through email, even though email is among one of the most commonly used mediums in the average business of our current society. The incapability of MRT to analyze rich communication in email has been overcome by social media adoption within the more recent access quality theory. This theory has come to be a theory in use over MRT to explain the adoption of rich communication, mainly through email. The access quality theory has been found to better explain this adoption process, as well as the decisive role of individual differences from social interaction theories that have recently been used over MRT to understand the differences in levels of adoption in popular mediums of the mass media.
Though MRT has been referred to for decades, it is incompatible with the cultural and social backgrounds that so heavily influence media choice by individuals in our contemporary society. Take, for example, research conducted by Ook Lee that concluded in a virtual work environment where showing respect is vital, a communication medium's ability to convey cultural protocol was found substantially more important than the richness of the medium, as proposed by MRT. Another study in 2009 by Marinol Gerritsen, entitled The Impact of Culture on Media Choice, the Role of Context, Media Richness, and Uncertainty Avoidance, concluded that in business context, culture plays a distinct role in determining the receiver's preference of medium, likely in terms of the specific culture's threshold for uncertainty avoidance. In summary, the best choice of medium in any given task varies from person to person, and the task can likely have varying degrees of the uncertainty and equivocality, which is inconducive with MRT's analysis of whether rich or lean media should be used.
Chapter 3 of the academic book, titled A First Look into Communication Theory, evaluates what makes an objective theory good based on its credibility. In summary, an objective theory is credible because it predicts some future outcome and explains the reason for that outcome. Apart from the many critiques of the theory that we have previously considered, we believe that overall, medium richness theory is a good objective theory based on the 6 criteria listed in Chapter 3. MRT's central positions meet the first 2 scientific standards. To recall MRT's central claims, the first is that greater immediacy of feedback and multiplicity of cues increases media richness, and the second is the use of richer media will lead to better task performance for equivocality tasks. Daft and Lingle successfully predicted what will happen when communication mediums are matched based on their richness with tasks of equivocality or uncertainty.
They provided an explanation of the data by demonstrating how immediacy of feedback plays a vital role in confirming that a message was understood with the appropriate meaning without loss or distortion of the information given out. They also provided an explanation of how Multiplicity of cues increases media richness based on the additional meanings that verbal and nonverbal cues and gestures bring into a message. It has also been proven in many studies that the use of richer media will lead to better performance for equivocality tasks in the early onset on MRT. Therefore, the theory's hypothesis can be tested. In conclusion, MRT has been viewed over several decades as a useful and objective theory. Although its propositions have been questioned more and more over time as our society continues to change and increase in diversity, resulting in an individualistic culture.
Finally, we will construct an argument that addresses the gaps in media richness theory in order to extend the theory and to make it more relevant for today. The most obvious gaps in this theory are that tasks can have varying degrees of uncertainty and equivocality, which rules out the decision to use either rich or lean media. According to MRT, lean media such as emails are best used to reduce uncertainty, and rich media such as face-to-face communication is best suited for reducing equivocality. Therefore, the theory claims that whether there is uncertainty or equivocality in a situation, different communication mediums should be used based on their levels of richness. Our extension of this theory is in regards to tasks that include varying degrees of uncertainty and equivocality. It is unconducive to decide if such tasks should be communicated through rich or lean mediums. We propose that the theory should integrate the concept that some mediums will include both rich and lean elements of its message, and some information is best communicated through written text because it will remain static and can be re-examined at any time by the receiver.
When both rich and lean information is used, including the use of numbers such as dates and times, it is most convenient for individuals to receive such information through forms of written text, such as email, so the information is never lost or forgotten, especially when managers communicate to their subordinates regarding important dates and times of meetings. The overall performance of the business will improve when workers have such information in written text that they can refer back to at any time for purposes such as making it to a meeting on time, or to refer to information while conducting a meeting to ensure their important messages are not left out.
The final way we decided to extend this theory is by adopting the language and adding the concepts of routine, complex tasks versus non-routine, simple tasks, which MRT has not yet considered. We do not agree with the specific claim of MRT that all tasks can be clearly categorized along the dimensions of the two terms, equivocality and uncertainty. MRT has the central claim that matching communication mediums with the needs of information processing tasks based solely on uncertainty and equivocality improves performance. Our extension of MRT proposes that the degree of routineness should be matched to the level of equivocality in order to rank communication mediums more efficiently. We believe that examining the degrees of routines in complex tasks and simple tasks will more clearly exhibit the richness of specific communication mediums that MRT evaluates. Again, this has been created by Carrie Fannin and my sister Jackie Fannin. Thanks for listening.